Dragon of the Southern Tier, here with you today, and I am having a great day. I wish I could say that is the same thing for those who are in West Palm Beach at this moment. Now, this is coming out live. It is breaking news. I was not expecting to be having this show, so I want you to be very clear. It's currently 7:52 p.m. on Saturday, the 19th. So again, 7:52 p.m. on Saturday, December 19th. That's important, and I'm about to explain why. There's breaking news right now that in West Palm Beach, there are approximately 1,000 children, students, college students, who are being thrown onto the streets, as I am understanding, right this moment. It's something that most people are not aware of. In fact, if you were to go out right now and you're looking for a Google search for West Palm Beach, you're just not going to find anything. There is the coronavirus. There is some news that's breaking out, but people are not aware of this. Hello, Dal. Dal is with us, and I'm happy to see you. So I know everyone's going to be surprised what's going on here. So I've been on and off the phone for the last half hour, 45 minutes now, trying to figure out as many details as I can about what's happening at this moment. And to the best, what we can report right now, and please follow me on this, there is in Florida at this moment, there is the equivalent of CPAC. There is the Turning Point USA Student Action Summit. It was planned to start today, December 19th at 5:30 p.m. and to continue until December 22nd. This was at Palm Beach County Convention Center in West Palm Beach. Now, as far as we were aware and as far as we can confirm at this moment, that was something that was going on normally as planned. Yes, Hot is asking, are we live? Yes, I am live at this moment. This event, which is basically the CPAC for the Student Action Turning Point USA, was going on as expected. There were some 4,000 college students, as I understand at this moment, that were going to the event. And now there are approximately, as I am being told, about 1,000 students who are currently being kicked out by the West Palm Beach mayor, Kevin James, on the street at this moment. And that is big news. So this is really crazy. This is really surprising. Now, I want you to understand very clearly, yesterday, as has been reported, and this is coming from WPTV, which is the West Palm Beach News Channel 5, NBC 5 in Florida. The Santa Shuffle Bar Crawl and Toy Drive was held in West Palm Beach yesterday. So as of yesterday, Saturday, there was absolutely nothing wrong with having gatherings of people, that they were giving out gifts. There were events that were going on in Florida. Okay? So it's not like this was something that coronavirus suddenly struck in the last 24 hours. But what we do know very clearly, and I want to be very clear about this, that the West Palm Beach mayor is no stranger to having ethics complaints and doing things that seriously question his position. He is a Democrat, by the way. So in September 26th, the State Ethics Commission was looking at probable causes that West Palm Beach Mayor Keith James, excuse me, I got his name wrong before. It's Keith James, has a conflict of interest in voting for his landlord's company. You think that was pretty bad? I mean, that's a pretty bad thing to do. And that was on September 26th. I would like to say that's the only problem he's ever had, except he also had, and I want to make sure I get that, there it is, the Palm Beach Post also reported on July 31st that the state ethics panel finds the West Palm Beach Mayor James possibly at fault in a no-bid deal, with his friend, giving out a no-bid security contract to a company operated by one of his friends. So this is an individual who has a history of doing unethical things, apparently, or is at least in question of that. And as I am understanding it, he signed new orders, and it would be emergency order number 31 for Palm Beach County. And this is something that takes effect, and I want to be very clear here, this order shall be effective as of 12:01 a.m. on December 21st. I've been searching for this. If someone else is more aware of it than I am, please let me know. But there is no emergency order that takes place on December 19th. There is no change. The closest we've gotten was on December 18th for something that will not take place until the 21st. Why does this all matter? Because as you can see on Twitter right now, live, it is being reported, the mayor of West Palm Beach does not want us to be patriotic. I am quoting Lindsay Finley. He hates our great country and what our founding fathers stood for. Fight for your freedom, America, hashtag America First, hashtag SAS 2020, SA at TPUSA and Charlie Kirk. And we can see there are students lined up and they're being denied the ability. As I am being told, the police have locked down the hotel. No one gets out, no one gets in. There are somewhere around 1,000 students, college students, right now that have nowhere to go. They have paid for an hotel, they have paid for airline tickets, they've paid for an event, and suddenly, because the mayor seems to have a problem with Republicans and conservatives, he's left them out in the proverbial cold. Thank God they're in West Palm Beach, because if they were in upstate New York right now with 42 inches of snow in my community, you know what? They'd really be having a problem. But of course, that's why you don't do national events like CPAC or TPUSA SAS in, upstate New York. So, and people can check this out for themselves. It's a story that no one is talking about at this moment. Literally, as I said, in the last half hour, I have been made aware of this. And I want you to be very clear that Mayor Keith James is a Democrat. He is a supporter of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, as reported by WLRN in South Florida. He has taken umbrage with President Trump, and he's no fan of conservatives, it seems, as well as his issues with ethics that we see with the State Ethics Commission in July and again in September, issues that are pretty pervasive here. But we are finding out that, and again, there is Aiden Duncan who is reporting that he's disappointed that the SAS attendees, they're chanting right now. This was as of 6:30 p.m. They've been chanting that they can't get into an event that they have paid for. And this is all coming, as I am being told, because the West Palm Beach, Florida Mayor Keith James changed the rules, has police locking down a hotel, not letting people in or out, not letting students be able to go into their rooms. He has left them effectively on the streets without a reason. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And this is what America has come to. This is what we are seeing as a consequence of the election. We are seeing, not only are we seeing that there are Democrats, there are progressives out there, there are the Democratic Socialists of America, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, cheerleading the effort to create lists like the Trump accountability list, the Trump accountability list project that is putting together a list of conservatives and Republicans who supported the president, individuals who supported the president, who supported basically America and freedom, and decided that no, socialism is far more important, and we need lists so that we can punish Republicans and conservatives, that we can punish people who didn't believe in supporting socialism. And it would seem, and I cannot confirm that, but I believe that the West Palm Beach mayor is in line with that he agrees with this mentality, that he is more than willing to punish those who have a political opinion different than his own. Because there is, as we can see at this moment, no reason for the change. Legally, there's nothing that he can enforce until December 21st. No changes have been made. Nothing is in effect. He did not, as far as we are able to determine at this moment, he did not notify Turning Point USA. He did this in the middle of their event. People had over 3,000 people, as I am told, have come to the hotels, have already gathered, have already had some of the event schedules start. And then after this happened, that's when Mayor Keith James took action. Then he decided that he's going to punish people for having a political preference that is not his own. Now, I believe that is an ethical challenge. I believe that that is a serious problem. You may disagree. You may tell me, Mike, well, no, it's perfectly fine because COVID is more important than anything else in the world. Maybe. Of course, if it's such an emergency, why was he having a Santa Shuffle event? Dal Grimm is mentioning that Trump Accountability Project, thank you. See, we as the supporters of American freedom need lists too. The difference is our lists wouldn't be used to persecute, but to ensure we don't vote bozos back in. And I wasn't set up for my comments. I apologize for that. Because again, we weren't planning to report now. This is breaking news. This is a story that has not traveled yet. Please let people know. It's under hashtag America First, under hashtag SAS 2020. It's hashtag TPUSA. This is something that is breaking out now. And as far as I can tell, no one else is covering this story. No one else is mentioning this. And it is highly likely that the mainstream media that has lied for Joe Biden, that has pushed off stories, hidden information from the public, like the Hunter Biden laptops, completely obscured that, told you, the American public, that it wasn't true until after an election took place, and then it's suddenly a fact. They have gone out of their way to make sure that Orange Man bad, conservatives are bad, and they have rigged elections. We have seen the internet overlords go out there and they have purposefully blocked people, deleted accounts. 8,000 accounts have been removed from YouTube. YouTube has come out and said, if you say anything beyond voting irregularities, that they will remove your videos without warning, possibly deleting your accounts. This is what they have said. They have come out and said censorship is alive, and if you do not believe what they believe, then you will be punished. This is the America we're seeing, and it's happening quick, folks. It's still 2020. President Trump is still in office until January 20th, and you know what? The American Constitution still exists. Americans have rights. And yes, I understand there is coronavirus. Yes, there is COVID-19. Yes, we have locked down the nation to the detriment of everyone. We have increased the number of domestic abuse problems. We have increased the number of suicides. We have destroyed businesses throughout this nation. We have crushed the American economy for something that is 97% survivable anywhere in the world by everyone. And for that, we are now using that excuse to go out and say, you have the wrong political belief. well, we have a problem and we're going to punish you. You don't have to agree with my political position. I've never asked anyone to do that. But I have to tell you that if this were to happen to a Democrat, if right now we were looking, I was breaking the news that a Republican mayor had turned around and said, guess what? Here's 1,000 Democratic students that have been locked out, 1,000 Democratic Socialists of America students like those in Ithaca that went out and purposefully tried to start a riot and got into fights with Republicans because they don't agree with their political views. If 1,000 of the Democratic Socialists of America, which probably be all of them, were gathered and they were kicked out of their hotel rooms that they had paid for, I will guarantee you this would be national news on every single channel. If this were to happen to the DNC, Democratic National Committee, if this was happening to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or at an event that she was expected to speak at, if this was happening to Bernie Sanders, if this was happening to Kamala Harris or to Joe Biden, who are scheduled to be there, by the way, at this event, President Trump, Vice President Mike Pence is scheduled to be speaking later this week. I believe it's yet tomorrow or Sunday or Monday. Yeah, if this has happened to the Democrats, you know for a fact there would be outrage and there would be riots in the street. We know that they have had riots for less than that. They've had riots for a drop of a hat. You think they wouldn't be rioting for this? Mind you, the Republicans are not. The Turning Point USA, the students at the SAS, the Student Action Summit, they're not rioting. They are confused. They are troubled. They are stuck in the streets being blocked by the police because West Palm Beach Mayor Keith James doesn't like people who don't share his same political outlook. Maybe, just maybe, if, I don't know, maybe if it were the fact that Turning Point USA or the Student Action Summit were personal friends of his, kind of like, his buddy with the no bid security contract that he gave in July, maybe if they were a little bit friendlier with him, he'd be willing to break all kinds of ethical requirements and regulations to make sure that they could do anything they wanted. But as it turns out, they're not. I don't know. To me, it's upsetting. And I do see Agent Black, our buddy from across the pond, is here. And of course, tomorrow we will be talking about this more at our normally scheduled 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live stream with you, the public. And we're going to be talking about this as well as many other issues. But this is breaking news. And I hope people pay attention to this, that this gets out there and more people become aware of this. Because I think this is absolutely the worst thing that could possibly be happening. And this deserves to have knowledge. People deserve to know about this. I mean, tell me if you think I'm wrong here, but when we see a mayor of a city break the rules, make up his own rules, just so he could punish people for having a different political belief, you know what? I think that's supposed to be breaking news in America. I think that's something that we're supposed to be talking about. I would love to see this to be trending in Google, but it's not. I would like to see this trending, the SAS 2020. I would love to see that trending on Twitter. But at the moment, as far as I can tell, it is not. Even though there are thousands that are sitting in the streets right now. And I'm going to check for it right now with you live. And I'm going to try and find out. SAS 2020, I just typed it in. Let's take a look at this together, just so you can see what I'm talking about here, folks. So this is live. SAS 2020, just looked it up. And we know Senator Rand Paul is speaking about the event. We know that Representative Matt Gaetz has made comments. Jim Hoft of the Gateway Pundit is right now speaking and he is confirming 24 minutes ago that the Palm Beach health officials block the TPUSA Action Summit attendees from entering a conference hall in West Palm Beach, Florida. This is their live report. So we are just now hearing about it. We have been on air for 20 minutes. So 4 minutes before we broke out the news, we see the Gateway Pundit was right there with us. So everyone's trying to make sure we get the story right. But we can see, as Graham Allen, who is also a blue check mark here, Graham Allen is the author of America 316 and host of Dear America podcast. He's also confirmed this 18 minutes ago. He's there talking about this. And we're going to see what this, because there is an announcement here on that. So I want to play this for you. Please bear with me. Again, sound isn't perfect, but this is breaking news.
Willing to stand here when things aren't going the right way, the way you want it to go. This is exactly what this country needs right now. This is exactly what our president needs right now. Here we go. Willing to stand.
Okay, so they're encouraging the students for standing up for their rights, standing up for their ability to be able to gather. The First Amendment, to peacefully gather and assemble. That is an absolute right of the American people. This should be breaking news, not just with the Gateway Pundit. We should see the New York Times reporting on this. We should be seeing the Washington Post speaking about this. We should see this on NBC, CNBC. We should see this on MSNBC. We should be seeing this on CNN. We're not. There's a problem here. And I know that a lot of people may be saying, well, Mike, I don't understand. Why is this such a big deal? Imagine if you were going to anything and suddenly when you showed up, the mayor of that town suddenly went to you and said, I don't like you. You can't go in. Goodbye. Would you stand for that? Would you sit idly by? Would you and 1,000 of your friends and fellow Americans, would you just say, well, gee, that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's all right. Take away my rights. Throw away my money. Leave me on the middle of the streets at night, possibly thousands of miles away from my home with nothing to do just because you don't like me. I don't know. To me, this is upsetting. This is crazy. And at least now we are starting to get the news out there. We are starting to hear people, to let people know. Gateway Pundit has reported it. Now we're starting to see some others finally get this out there. I see that it's now being announced. Benny Johnson is now talking about this. I mean, I'm looking at this live with you folks. So Benny is talking. Actually, Benny Johnson was talking about how there are supposed to be thousands in attendance. Yeah, it's crazy. For an event that started at 5:30 today. It's called tyranny, folks. It's called tyranny. When you are suddenly blocked and denied. Here's another picture. I want you to see this, folks. So you can see this is from Jorge Ventura Media, or the Ventura Media. They just arrived at SAS 2020 in West Palm Beach, and students are blocked from entering Palm Beach County Convention Center due to a limit on capacity. This is a change in the rules. The change in the capacity was made today without warning, without notification, without provocation. That is the problem. Why is it that we see so many Democrats, elected officials, that go around and they just make up the rules? It's like Governor Cuomo. He woke up this morning, it's COVID, so you can't go to your store. Governor Cuomo wakes up one morning, I don't know, he rolls out of bed, says, hey, the sun's up, it's a little bit cold, I'm shutting down the gyms today. He wakes up one morning, drinks a sip of his coffee. You know, that's a little bit bitter. Guess what? Movie theaters are shut down. Screw the restaurants. Nobody. I went, what is it? Is that the rule? Is that what Governor Newsom, Governor Whitmer, Governor Cuomo, Mayor Keith James in West Palm Beach, do they just wake up and go, going out for their scrambled eggs, bacon, and some coffee? I don't know, maybe the eggs were a little bit runny, and they suddenly decide, you know what? My eggs are a little runny today. Shut down everything. Shut down the restaurants. Throw people out of their jobs. Destroy the economy. Increase the number of suicides. Leave kids stranded. 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. Leave them stranded in the middle of the streets. Because, I just don't feel so great. And screw them, because they don't have the same political ideas. Dal Grimm says, similar assemblies need to be cropping up anywhere there is arbitrary legislation limiting rights. That's why I'm talking. This is about the limit of rights. For those who are watching this, and I hope people are watching this. I know this was unexpected. Again, breaking news. This is breaking news. We and Gateway Pundit were 4 minutes apart in breaking the news on this story that should be national news. People aren't aware of this. This isn't about whether you happen to be a Republican or a conservative. It doesn't matter if you voted for President Trump or whether you voted for Joe Biden. It doesn't matter what you believe politically as your own personal preference. This is someone who is abusing the power of the full force of the government against other people that don't share their same point of view, apparently. And because they are abusing their power because they can, that's why I'm on with you right now. That's the breaking news, that we are seeing a mayor of an American city abuse his power and punish American citizens for no reason other than their political belief. And tomorrow, that can be you. If you don't want to talk about this story, if you don't want to share this news announcement, if this doesn't seem like breaking news to you, then tomorrow, when it happens to you, who's going to be speaking for you? No Soundbites Allowed, Will. We'll cover the story. We'll verify as what we can, and we will cover the story. But guess what? You got to care. This is wrong. And we should notify the West Palm Beach authorities, and especially the police, and say, stop locking out the students. Stop denying people their American First Amendment rights. Don't deny them what they paid for. Leave them alone. Let them gather as they had the right to do right up until 5:30 this afternoon. I don't know what else to say about this, folks. I'm looking forward to your comments. As this news gets out there, I hope it's going to be bigger news. I hope more of the news media will cover this besides myself, Gateway Pundit. I'm sure Daily Caller is going to be covering this. I would expect Campus Reform is going to cover this. Folks, we all should be covering this, because no one's freedom should be so badly abused, that people should be so badly treated because they have a political preference in a nation that is based on the freedom to have political differences and personal beliefs. We cannot stand for this. We cannot allow this to happen without any question. We should challenge this. We should speak up about this. And thank you, Hot, for saying that you are with us. I hope others will be too. Now, I'm not going to belabor the point. I think I've made my point here. I've been talking for about 30 minutes. I hope I have made this as clear as I possibly can. And now it's going to be on everyone else. I've let you know. This is breaking news. This is news that it seems, as far as I can tell, CNN, they don't want to tell you about it. MSNBC, they don't want to tell you about it. ABC, CBS, they don't want to talk about this. They don't want you to know that a mayor who has serious ethic problems is willing to break ethic rules and regulations, apparently, is more than willing to go out there and to punish you because you're not doing what he wants you to do, because you have a different political opinion as guaranteed by the First Amendment. Share this. Let people know about this. The hashtag is hashtag SAS2020. Continue to fight, folks. Speak up. Demand that the rest of the news media cover this. Demand that the West Palm Beach mayor back down, back off of people's American rights, the First Amendment, and allow people to do what America was put together for. It's the reason why it's the First Amendment, to gather peaceably and speak. Because I guarantee you, if this was happening to Antifa right now, they'd be burning down West Palm Beach. And I guarantee you that this would be covered by every one of the major news media stations, and they would all say, it's okay, because it's mostly peaceful. Don't mind that the convention center is burning down. It's Antifa. That's all right. They do that sometimes. Okay, that was a little silly, maybe. But seriously, folks, Agent Black mentions two-tier rights and justice happening worldwide. I agree. This is a problem worldwide. This is not just a problem in West Palm Beach right now. If and you know what that should happen? Jorge should go out there, or maybe it should be Aiden or Lindsay. Any one of them should go out there. Hopefully, any one of them are black. Lindsay isn't. Aiden isn't. Jorge is Spanish. Go out there and say, hey, this is an infringement on my rights. It's racist. Go ahead and say that. Let anyone who's black who's there, and yes, there are black Republicans, they exist. Hello, I'm one of them. I've been to CPAC, I've been to these events, and I can guarantee you, yes, if you're black, you do get the choice of being conservative or not. And let one of them come up and say, this is racist. They closed the gates down because of racism. Let Antifa come there and try and back them up. Hopefully Antifa doesn't burn down the city. And then I guarantee you, they would open the doors, they'd open the floodgates of every hotel in West Palm Beach to make sure that they would allow these students in. That the American rights that they have would be perfectly fine. Because coronavirus, well, you know as well as I do, that coronavirus knows your political beliefs and won't attack you if you're a Democrat, but it will attack you if you're a conservative or a Republican. Because coronavirus comes out after 10 o'clock in New York State, but not before that. Coronavirus, and especially in New York State, knows whether you've had a meal or not. Coronavirus knows whether you're drinking or not, and it will attack you because if you don't do the proper democratic thing, if you're not a good progressive, obviously that puts a bullseye on you and coronavirus comes right for you. Because if you're at a riot for Antifa and BLM, coronavirus can't touch you. Dale Grimm mentions rioting is the language of the disenfranchised. CNN on Antifa riot. Yeah, that's a quote. No, it's not. Rioting is the language of criminals. Period. Rioting is the language of criminals. Because rioting is a crime. Looting is a crime. Burning down someone's personal property, private property, is a crime. It's called arson. It is a crime. Denying people their First Amendment rights is a crime. And we have seen criminal actions, not just the ethics complaints that have been repeated and rampant, it appears, against West Palm Beach Mayor Keith James. You know, these are problems. And it looks like either Twitter or Facebook are shutting me down right now because they don't like this conversation. They don't want you to see the breaking news. They don't want you to consider that there are some people out there who happen to be in the Democratic Party, it appears overwhelmingly, the leadership of it. And I don't want to blame the rank and file Democrats in the world. I know many of them. They are fine people. They believe in the same things we all believe. But it seems their elected officials have no problem saying, you need to be punished because you don't agree with them, because you're not progressive enough. I swear to God, if this was an Antifa, that this would not be happening. And you'd see the entire city burning down if someone were to dare do this to Antifa, to BLM. I'm getting comments and messages. People are updating me as we speak, so bear with me a second, folks. You know, I'm being reminded that the hotel took the students' money, that the airlines flew them over, that these college students made their plans. We got to hold everyone accountable here. You know, it's the reason they get to get away with this is because they scream COVID-19. And under the words COVID-19, we have been told so much about the fear of COVID-19, that this is the new plague. This is the black plague of 2020. You are going to die because there have been millions of cases in the world. Even though there's maybe a little over 1 million deaths in the world, a world of 7 billion people, the fact that it has a 97% survival rate. Throw all that out the window. In fact, throw out everything, because that's a dog whistle. That's the excuse. You're going to hear people say, it's COVID-19. Throw that out the window. It's not COVID-19. Because yesterday, and I want to bring this up again before I go. Yesterday, they had the Santa Shuffle. Life was going on in West Palm Beach as normal. These restrictions didn't happen until today, without any legal basis at all, which is why Turning Point USA, the students were not told ahead of time. No one was given any warning. Nothing changed. So it wasn't until December 19th, as students were getting together for the 5:30 opening, that's when it happened. So I want to be very clear about this. This isn't about COVID, because COVID didn't wake up on December 19th in West Palm Beach at about 3 in the afternoon and decided, hey, let me go start attacking people right now, because that's what they're making it seem like. That suddenly, COVID just woke up and said, hey, I punched in. I'm here now. It's 3 o'clock. Let me just start COVIDing people all over the place. It didn't happen like that, folks. It's just not how it works. This is about politics. This is about having the wrong think. You're having wrong think. 1984, wrong think. You're not thinking the right way. You're not living the right way. And we're going to punish you. We're going to beat you up politically and personally because you are the wrong kind of person. Agent Dale Grimm mentions the mayor would be using city funds to expand the venue if it were a progressive gathering. Yes, I believe he would. Agent Black mentions new strain of COVID hoax in UK. We're on full lockdown since midnight. Be prepared for unrest, possible martial law, get food, etc. By the way, folks, for those who are unaware, our friend Agent Black is a Brit. He comes from Scotland. And he speaks with us, and he's one of many of our international fans, and we thank them for their comments and being in touch with us. And I had no idea. So there's further breaking news, folks, that in the UK, they're going into lockdown. The very thing that the WHO, the chief of Central Europe, has said is the very last thing you want to do because it is worse than actually the cure. To go into lockdowns actually causes more damage economically. It makes more people starve in the world. It increases domestic abuse. It increases suicides. It is the least beneficial thing you could possibly do. And by the way, it didn't work in the summer. Why is it supposed to work now? No one ever wants to answer that question. CNBC, CNN, they don't want to talk about these things. They don't want you to think about this. You're not supposed to think. And that's also why you're not supposed to gather, as is our American right to peaceably assemble. I've said it a couple times here. I'm going to say it again. It is our American right to peaceably assemble. By the way, peaceful assembly for CNN, because they don't seem to know what that is, doesn't mean that the building is burning behind you as you are on live TV. That's mostly peaceful means not peaceful. CNN seems to not understand it. Get a Webster's dictionary, get a thesaurus, look it up. If it's mostly peaceful, it's not peaceful. But guess what? Down in Florida right now, it is peaceful. The students aren't rioting, which is probably why we don't see CNN cheering them on. This is probably why the New York Times doesn't want to talk about this, because they're not black, or actually in BLM, most people are white. So they're not screaming about civil rights. And because of that, they're saying, hey, this is a problem. And the excuse is coronavirus. It's not coronavirus. So I think it's a problem. And we're seeing, and the answer that the government's coming up to us with is, you have a First Amendment right to peacefully assemble. Fantastic. Please assemble. You have a different political belief? Oh, well, no. Get the hoses. Where are the dogs? Let's go and attack these people. Oh my God, how dare you gather to have a different political opinion? You think, oh, Mike, you're going over the top here. Am I? Am I really? Because how much different is it when you're sitting out in the middle of the street with nowhere to sleep, far away from home and friends and family? Because the only thing you did is say, hey, I want to gather with people like myself who have the same belief I do. Not to break a law, not to break down windows, not down to burn down buildings, not to try and change anyone else's way of living. This event isn't to change anyone else's life. This is for them to gather with other people and to talk with them. Strip away all of the politics here and just forget their Republicans, forget their conservatives, because yes, they do exist, and yes, they are young too. Remove all of that and think about something very, very simple. This is a group of people who decided to come together and talk with each other. And some other elected official is saying, with the full weight and power of the American government, screw you, you can't do that. Name any other time in American history that wasn't denounced by everyone today. Name another. Tell me when this is right. Tell me how in 2020, almost 2021, how this is right. They could be meeting to, I don't know, the National Convention of Doily Makers. I don't care. Think of the most stupid, silly thing you could think of. We're the Dalmatian Lovers of America. I don't even know if that exists. We're the Dalmatian Lovers of America. We're gathering together. No, you can't. We've locked the doors because we don't like Dalmatian dogs. You get to go out on the streets. you would say that it is wrong, that they must demand to open up their doors, and that elected official will be run out of the state. You would think. But if it's not someone saying, we're the dog lovers of America, we love puppies, and we want to gather and talk about loving puppies, and because it's not that, well, it's okay. Because those people are evil and bad. Do you understand what I'm talking about with the difference here, folks? Because tomorrow it will be the dog lovers of America, because the cat lovers of America are in elected office and they decided you need to be punished because you have wrong think. Kittens are fantastic. Screw you. You get out on the streets. My God, this is upsetting to me. And Gateway Pundit and I are the only people apparently talking about this. Well, let me clarify that. Gateway Pundit, myself, and Daily Caller are the only people talking about this in that order. Gateway Pundit beat us by 4 minutes to talk about this, but all of us have fact-checked this and double-checked, and there is no law, there is no legal reasoning for this. Everyone should be terrified and upset and angry about this. Let me look up again at the notes. Excuse me, I'm getting carried away. 1 second, folks. Hot says she thinks that someone trusts her. I think many of you do. Excellent decision. Fighting really hard for this guy. Agent Black mentions, our friend from Britain mentions, why are there 3 carrier battle groups on your West Coast and 2 on your East? Well, Agent Black, we generally have several carrier groups that are constantly on the coast. That's not that unusual. Although you bring up a good question, and especially in context, it's something to look into, and I need to check out on that. Hot mentions that it's not a problem, Mike. They prove us. Hot mentions it's not a problem, Mike. They prove us. I'm not sure what that means, Hot. Dal Grimm mentions the irony of the slippery slope argument use an absurd example to show the arc of potential for abuse. Poo-poo head as exaggerative because it's one instance without addressing the potential. Yes, I use the extreme examples. And yes, I used an example that seems very silly. Cat lovers versus dog lovers. But here's the thing. It's not an extreme example because it's the American First Amendment. It is your right and your freedom to believe anything you want, religious or not. It is your ability and right, absolute fundamental right of this bedrock of this nation, that no matter what the reason, if you peacefully assemble, you have the right to do that. And it cannot be stopped. There is no clause in the Constitution that says, except in a national emergency, except when someone says it's a problem. There is no exception to that. You have this right. And someone cannot just arbitrarily take away that right. And if we allow them to do that, and if someone says, well, Mike, your example is extreme and it's silly. It can be as extreme and as silly as I want it to be. It can be as serious as what is actually happening, or it can be extremely silly. It doesn't take away. The fact is that there has to be a substantial and serious and significant reason with pure justification, with a heaping load of justifications behind it for this to be done. And that is not the case here. No. And Dow, I don't think that, Dow mentions above is not a criticism, observation on how progressives dismiss the slippery slope argument. And I understand, Dow. That's how I took it. I didn't think that you were saying, oh, I'm that you were mentioning it to me, but saying that others are going to say, well, Mike's talking about that cats and dogs. He's just making it up. He's so silly. Ha, ha, ha. He doesn't know he's so. No, I get it. And yes, they will make those examples because they're hiding from the truth. Because the truth is the Constitution. It doesn't matter what the reason is. To put it another way, and I could say it just as simply and as easily as, if this was a BLM, Black Lives Matter, or an Antifa event, and they gathered, and some Republican said, you can't go to your hotel, you can't come in here because I don't agree with your politics, there would be insanity, and this would be across every major news outlet. Why is this any different? What's the difference? Because there isn't one. This should not be allowed. And yes, I know that he has the power now. I don't care who has the power now. You know what has the power? The Constitution, the First Amendment. That has the power. And that's what we need to abide by. And that's what we need to say to everyone else. And that's why this needs to go out and people need to share it and need to talk about it. And hashtag SAS 2020. And I stand by TPUSA because they have the right to assemble peacefully, and they have the right to have an opinion, and they have the right to have their own beliefs, political and religious and otherwise. And Mayor Keith James of West Palm Beach, Florida, is a tyrant. He is anti-American, and he is doing the worst thing that could possibly be happening in America today by stopping people because they have a political belief different than his own. I am angry and I am upset, and I am speaking about this because it needs to be said and shared, and I do not want to see this happen in a single other city ever again. I don't want to see this happen to Antifa. I don't want to see, well, Antifa is extreme, but I don't want to see this to happen to Black Lives Matters, the Democratic Socialists of America, the progressives of the Democratic Party, to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, to Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi. I would not want this to happen to any American of any political belief because it is wrong. It is against their Constitution, and I would defend them against any Republican or conservative that would try to lock them out for arbitrary reasons, to deny them their rights. And God help me, we should be saying the same thing for the Republicans and conservatives, the students of Turning Point USA and the Student Action Summit. All right, folks, I'm upset. I've let you know. Now it's up to you. If you agree, by the way, if you agree with this, please do subscribe to the channel, because I guarantee you this is not being pushed around and spread around by Twitter, by Google, by Facebook. But if you do like this, subscribe. Join us tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No Soundbites Allowed. Join us in our live stream where you're able to make comments, just like many people have here today. And that is our regular scheduled event every week. Until then, I want you to be safe. If you are in Florida, if you are in West Palm Beach, I support you. I stand by you. I thank you for being peaceful, not mostly peaceful, not peaceful by the way that CNN defines it, but actually peaceful in making your protest. I hope you get to go into the convention center. I hope you get to go into your hotels. I hope you get to live your American rights as defined by the Constitution, and I stand behind you on that. Folks, you have a great night. And I'm going to talk to you again tomorrow at 2:30. Thank you all. And thank you, Agent Black from overseas in Britain. We love you guys overseas, all of you. So thank you for joining us. You have a good night.